And we are live. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Billy Rowe. Today is Wednesday, so you know what that means. It's time for the Wednesday word. That's Wednesday word. Jumping straight into it. Tonight's topic is lose some weight. Man, I've been waiting to say what this topic is about since I said what the topic was going to be. So as always, I like to say what the topic means. What do I mean when I say lose some weight? Because the New Year's is approaching and many of us create New Year's resolutions, even though I am not one of them. Tonight's topic, lose some weight, is about losing weight. However, it's not weight in the sense of that you would lose via exercise or anything like that. It's about losing the dead weight that we carry with us. And sometimes that dead weight are people that we keep or hold on to in our lives. So what do I mean by lose some weight? I mean, get rid of those relationships that you have fought so long to keep relevant that are no longer relevant in your life. I mean, you could lose 250 pounds. If you were to lose me and I was dead weight, you would lose 225 pounds the moment you decide that you no longer want to rock with me. So that's what I mean by tonight's topic. I have about 5 or 6 tools that I thought about when I was creating the topic. Hey, what's going on, Kim? When I was creating the topic that I want to share with you tonight. Hopefully these resonate with you, but I hope you're ready to go. So let's get into it. So the first thing I thought about, the first tool I thought about when I started thinking about the topic of lose some weight was kind of like what keeps us from losing weight. So the first tool that I came up with was that it's actually okay to have standards. I think many times we look at our standards, or at least for myself, I know that in the past I've looked at my own standards as sometimes I feel like I am judging a person or not giving the person the opportunity, don't judge a book by their cover, not giving that person the opportunity to present who they are to me. However, my standards are my standards, and it's something that I am actually setting up prior to meeting anybody that I engage with currently in life. So it is okay to have standards. What our standards allow us to do is they allow us to sift and sort. So if you're familiar with baking, sift is something you would do with flour to kind of avoid having clumping in your flour if you're making gravy or a roux or something like that. Or you might sift powdered sugar if you're making some royal icing, so that way your royal icing isn't have clumps of dry powdered sugar in it. So sifting, what that does is it allows us to take a bulk of people, in this case, that we believe we want to have involved in our lives, place them in this device, and we start sifting them. And as we sift them, the clumps of people that really don't belong in the bowl or in the mix or in our lives start to stay in the device, and the people who do belong, they're able to move through freely and come into our lives. The sorting aspect is actually my favorite aspect of the baking, where you're actually saying, okay, as I've sifted and you've made it into my life, at what degree do I involve myself with you? At what degree am I all in on everybody, which I'm telling you right now is impossible to be. I'm currently on vacation in California, and being on vacation, I realize that my time that I have is very finite. And so I have to maximize the time that I'm spending with people that I genuinely care about and want to engage with and want to see. Though there are probably more people who want to see me and probably more people that I would like to see, I can only see so many people per trip and still be involved with my children. So that's the sorting aspect of where you're putting people into certain or very varying levels of attention that you are going to give them based on making it through the sifting process. One of the things is that I think when it comes to our standards is we allow ourselves to kind of get caught up in these opportunities to put everybody else first. However, we forget that there's another person that not all the time, I don't believe that life should be self-centered, but there's another person that we should be putting first in our life is ourselves. And what our standards allow us to do is say, what is important to me? What do I want around me? What do I want in my environment? And based on those things that I want, who do I want to let in? And that is putting yourself first, so that you can then make other people first in different areas of life. So the first tool right off the back is being okay with having standards, and stop allowing people to have a free ride or free lane of access into your life. That's the first way to losing some weight. The second thing that I came up with, or the second tool that I came up with this concept, was the importance of not picking up hitchhikers. And the reason I say this is because hitchhiking is a very specific thing. Like if you see somebody walking on the side of the road and their thumb is up to the side as they walk, then you know they're looking for a ride. And I don't know how that became the universal signal of hitchhiking or symbol of hitchhiking, but that's what it is. It's okay to not pick up hitchhikers. Matter of fact, if you're going in their direction at some point or another, you still might find that you have to inconvenience yourself to pick up this hitchhiker, to bring this person into your circle or your circle of influence or your circle of trust, to bring them into that. And then now you're like, okay, you're here, you have all this access to me that normally people wouldn't have, and you might not even be headed in the same way. Hey, what's going on, brother Antoine? So that's the second thing that I came up with. And the reason I thought about don't pick up hitchhikers is actually because I was actually on my way, I think, to go and pick up my youngest son since I've been here on my trip. And I had my older son in the car with me. I'm driving onto the freeway and I seen two hitchhikers like on the side of the road wanting a ride. The thing that was interesting is that the hitchhikers had two dogs with them. And it's not that I have anything against dogs. Actually, dogs are probably my favorite animal of all animals. But it was like, wow, if I pick up these hitchhikers, there's a lot of things in this short second that I was like, number one, I have my son in the car with me. So there's two of us and two of them. So if it comes to a confrontation, I put my son in jeopardy. That's not worth the risk of picking up the hitchhiker. Number two, their dogs may or may not be trained. And if they decide they want to attack me or anything in the car, that's another inconvenience that I'd have to deal with. Sometimes, though, what happens is the humanity in us, and it's not, I don't think it's a weakness. I think it's something that is built into our compassion, makes us want to say, well, you know, these people don't have a ride, or they have something that they need that I could give to them because I'm heading in their directions. However, when I think about hitchhikers metaphorically into the people that we allow into our lives, you got to kind of weigh out what is the risk and what is the gain. And I don't mean in the sense of using people, but I mean in the sense of what are you risking of yourself? Are you risking being inconvenienced? Are you risking being put in a situation where you could be jeopardizing your freedom, where you could be jeopardizing your relationships with other people that you hold in a higher esteem? Are you risking those things? Because if so, you've picked up a hitchhiker. And if there's no gain, because in my opinion, there's no gain other than doing a nice thing for a hitchhiker, there's no gain that you're getting out of it. So why are you taking or allowing yourself to take so much risk with so little gain? It's like nobody goes into investments saying, I want to risk it all. And if it doesn't, or if it works out, I just want my money back to break even. No, if I'm going to risk it all, then I want the maximum return on my money. And if I'm going to risk it all in a relationship, then I want the maximum return in that relationship that I'm risking it all on. So that's the second tool that I thought about, was don't pick up hitchhikers. And we all know who the hitchhikers have been or are in our own personal lives. The third tool that I came up with was how to actually dissuade the dead weight from even getting into your life in the first place. And that is using authenticity as repellent. When we are our natural, authentic selves, we tend to attract people who are attracted to that. The issue is when we find ourselves to start to become or have to act like people we are not, then that is when we start inviting the people in our lives that we do not want in our lives. The example for me that I always use is that I don't use any illicit drugs or illegal drugs. I don't use them because that's my choice to do so. However, do I know people who use illicit drugs? Absolutely. The thing is I don't invite them into my space. And if they happen to be in my space or our spaces cross paths, then I'm just very upfront and forward, like, hey, that's not something I'm into. Don't even have to offer. Don't worry. I'm not going to feel like you're being rude. And that's if I don't remove myself from that environment, just to not have that association wrapped around me. So authenticity, again, what it acts as it acts as a barrier, because if people say, if people think that you're cool with whatever it may be, and you're acting as if you are cool with it, then you're going to attract more people into that circle. However, if you act accordingly to what you want to attract, those are the type of people that you're going to attract. And those are going to be the people that you get to put into your sifting and sorting machine to sift out those who are for you and those who are not. The fourth tool that I came up with, which is really a reflective tool, has to do with find out why you held on to them so long in the first place. Sometimes, no matter how great your standards are, no matter how great your sorting and sifting tool is, sometimes people just make it past, the first round interview, we'll call it. Because you see this happen in companies. They hire somebody and then it's like, oh, snap, now you're an employee here and we see why you don't work for your former employer. Or we see why you wouldn't if they didn't let you go. So what that does, what reflecting about finding out why you held on so long to them does, is it really lets you address or begin to explore the nutrient or the nurture that you were looking for from that individual in the first place. And once you identify that, once you identify what it is, what the get is or what the want was, you're able to start saying, okay, well, let's say the want was attention or support, whether that's mental support, financial support, whatever it may be. If the want or the desire was to get support from this person, once you identify that, now because you've taken the time to find out why you held on so long to them when they were draining you, taking your money, stealing from you, beating you down verbally, mentally, whatever it may be, now you can look at, okay, what are some healthy replacements? In the first place, I always am going to recommend that you look at for a healthy replacement is within yourself. What are the things I can do to position myself better financially, to make myself feel better about who I am, to encourage myself, to build myself up, to have my own internal support structure before I start looking at who I can reach out to on the other ends, or on the outside to help fill that for me. The other thing is it helps us understand where to find those sources at outside or externally in a healthier manner. Like, for instance, let's say you're in a relationship where the person is tearing you down, but you're like, I'm not lonely. I have, this person is still, they may tear me down every day, but they're with me, so I'm not lonely. Well, if the desire is to have company, then you can look at different social networks that you can get into. I don't mean social media networks. I mean actual social networks where you would physically go. And you can find that companionship, not necessarily the romantic aspect of it, but that companionship is friendship in those social networks where the people are not tearing you down, where the people are not belittling you. So that is the fourth tool that I have, is just find out why you held on to the person so long so that you can address the overall long-term side effect of the weight that you've been carrying. And then the fifth thing is also, once you've let somebody in, let's say, you let somebody in because they are healthy for you initially. People change. And that is the fifth tool, is accept that people change. Somebody may have come into your life. I've actually seen this in my own personal life where somebody has come into my life. They were a great person, had a lot of good things going for them. They uplifted me. I uplifted them. And then maybe drugs came into the picture, or maybe a significant other came into the picture, or something came into the picture to change the nature of health that person was for me. And they may not have became 100% dead weight, but they became enough dead weight to where it was like, man, every time I'm around you, my morale goes down. Every time I'm with you, I'm into something I'm not supposed to be in. And so accept that sometimes people are just going to change. Or in other cases, you can only fake it for so long before the real you shows up. Sometimes people have not changed. What they have done is they have reverted or exposed who they really are. And if you're unwilling to accept that and you're giving them chance after chance, come on, change back. Come on, man, be who I know you can be. Come on, girl. You got this. Come on, please, please, please. And not willing to accept that they have changed and moved on from the person that was healthy for you to be a part of, you will carry that dead weight farther and longer than you ever were intended to in the first place. So really quick, just to go over the tools that I talked about tonight. That's the fifth and final tool, but the tools that I talked about tonight when it comes to losing weight, the first tool is it's okay to have standards. The second tool is don't pick up hitchhikers. The third tool is use authenticity as repellent. And the fourth tool is find out why you held on to them so long in the first place. And then the last tool is accept that people change. So as always with the Wednesday Word, I like to share a personal story that kind of got me thinking about the topic before I got started with it and then started scoping out all the tools. And so tonight's topic is really about, it's partially I got it right, but then partially I got it wrong. I think I got it wrong, and then I accidentally got it right on the back end. And that's not because of me. It was more so because of the other person's choices. So there was a person in my life that was a really good friend of mine. And when we were friends, like started off, felt like we were brothers. Everything was good. Like felt like we had each other's back. And over time, that relationship had what I would call glimpses or blimps of, oh, wait, this is that real person. But I would ignore them. They would blimp, and it was like, man, were they just jealous of me right there? A friend shouldn't be jealous of your success. A friend shouldn't be jealous of you growing or moving forward. And I'm like, I'm tripping. They've been there, you know, as people say today, my day ones. They weren't day one, but they've been there for a significant amount of time. So I was like, nah, man, this is my man. He's good. We're good. And so then the next opportunity came, and then a blimp came up or something showed, and I got a glimpse of a back end other thing. And I was like, wait a minute, are you really the friend I thought you are? And so I was like, nah. This guy is, you know, he's legit. He's really good. And so what I found is through this relationship, I was making excuse after excuse after excuse for the person he was giving me glimpses of who he was. And it was a person that was like, I don't want to be friends with somebody like that. But he's done so much for me. He's helped me this. He helped me get my first job. He helped me, you know, keep myself out of trouble sometimes. Sometimes he helped me get into trouble that I wanted to get into. So I would think like, man, this is a really good friend. However, I was holding on to him because I was like, nah, he's a good dude. This is my boy. We're good. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that on the back end there were things he was doing to really sabotage me or one up me to be better than me. And I'm all for competition. Don't get me wrong. I have friends who I'm very competitive with, but I'm not competitive with them because I want them to fail. I'm competitive with them more so in friendly competition. Like, yeah, okay, well, you won that one, but I'm about to win this next one. It's not like, oh, well, I won this one and you lost because you're a loser and I want you to be a loser so that I make myself feel better. And sometimes you'll find that the dead weight you've been carrying is just that. You make them feel better, or sometimes they make us feel better because they are at a lower position than us, maybe even overall life as we perceive success. It's like, oh, well, you know, all my bills are paid and you struggling with your bills. So I keep you around because you make me feel good about all my bills being paid and not being who you are. Sometimes you'll see the dead weight we carry is self-serving from that perspective. But back to this friend. There were a couple of things that he did great. He encouraged me to play basketball when I was like, I don't really care if I play. He encouraged me to work out. He encouraged me to be healthy. He got me my first job. He taught me to think a little bit deeper than I actually thought initially when I was younger. So he taught me some great things. However, towards the end, I started noticing, oh, you know what? He has a chameleon mentality. So who he is with me is who he is with me. However, if we're in the company of other people, he becomes somebody I don't even know. And I don't know why he feels the need to do that, but that's not healthy. So then who is he when I'm not around, period? Like, it got me to questioning and guessing. Well, I held on to the friendship. But at one point, this person called me and said, you know, I don't think we should be friends anymore. I don't feel like we've been really good friends to each other. I feel like, you know, it was almost like I feel like we should see other friends type of conversation. And I was like, I don't know why you feel that way, but I let it go and said, okay, if that's what you got, that's what you got. I understand, respect it. Life goes on. I'm going to move on from here. Wish you luck. Godspeed. And so, like I said, sometimes we hold on to that dead weight where we don't want to let it go because it served a purpose or it was good in the beginning or we felt like it was good in the beginning. And then sometimes we don't want to acknowledge those glimpses of the person who they show us they truly are because of the good things that were in the beginning. And so we give grace and we give grace and we give grace and we make excuses. At some point, your grace that you're given becomes we make excuses for them. We make excuses for them. We make excuses for them. And then you hold on to something and you find, I don't know if you guys are familiar with working out. You find, but like in working out, there's these things called farmer walks. And what you do is you just grab heavy weights and you walk with them. But what you find is while you're carrying this heavy weight, you walk differently. Your core engages. It's a workout. Your core engages differently because it's carrying extra weight versus when you're not carrying an extra 100, 200 pounds, you walk differently again, because you don't have to balance and counterbalance different weights on different sides of your body. The same thing happens when we carry people as dead weight. I found that I was sometimes looking at him or making excuses and concessions for him to be a person of dead weight in my life. And now that he made it took him making the decision to say, I don't think we should be friends, for me to say, oh, okay, don't understand it all the way, but if that's what you feel, I don't want somebody to try to be my friend who doesn't want to be my friend. So they got rid of, he eliminated himself as a friend, but I had to accept that he changed and that he no longer wanted that. Sometimes what happens is I think we fight for those relationships that we internally get glimpses of the dead weight that the relationship is. Be okay with that. Be okay with letting that weight go. Be okay with shedding those pounds. One of my favorite things is when I hear people say, yeah, I lost, 250 pounds last year. And it's not, oh, because I was exercising and dieting. I got rid of a toxic relationship of a person who I needed to get out of my life. So I lost that weight because it was hurting me to hold on to it. And so be willing to make those sacrifices, be willing to let things go. Or people, in this particular case, be willing to let people go that are holding you back or holding you down, or just simply draining your positivity and trying to implant their negativity into your life. Be willing to let it go. Be willing not to even fight for it sometimes. I mean, there's some relationships you may want to fight for, but not all relationships require for you to fight for them and hope that you win and turn around and you're now the knight in shining armor who saved the day, or the woman in shining armor who saved the day. So be willing to let those things go. And that's really what losing weight is about, is letting those relationships that are not healthy for you go, so that you can live a life unencumbered, unweighted down by the people who are not, who don't meet your standards or who do not have the best intentions for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Wednesday word. As always, I enjoy when you guys come in and say hello. It gives me an opportunity to see who's viewing and who's live and all those great things. The next live content, speaking of live, the next live content will actually be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. What that will actually be, it'll be the first row intersations panel. And that will be a 4-person panel. We're going to do it on Dating 101. That's with Trenton Fitzhugh, Moses Jenkins, Jennifer Grant, and Carolyn Singletary, who will be on that panel along with myself. But I think it's going to be a great time, a great show. If you're dating, let me make this clear. If you're dating and you're single, or if you are in a relationship and you're dating, married or not, doesn't matter. Dating is a very essential part of any type of relationship that you would be in, romantically and actually with friends. I think you should go on friend dates too. But I don't want you to think it's only for the singles. It's for couples and singles. So come in, get you a drink, get you a snack, tune in live tomorrow at 7 p.m. As always, with the first row, I'd like to thank you for sitting on the first row. I look forward to seeing you guys next, or not next week, in about the next 24 hours on the first row. If you like this video, please share it. If you share it, please like it. If you have not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button and make sure you click the bell so that you can be notified when the first row is live. We bring content every week here on the first row. We have new content launching next year on the first row. You definitely want to be a part. This is designed to be interactive for you, and it's designed to be interactive for me. So make sure you come up and be a part, contribute to the conversation. Until I see you guys tomorrow, one love, peace, and God bless.